So in this recording, I'm going to talk about how I view a lot of what the gang stalkers do, and I'm going to come at this from a non-spiritual angle because I know that there are people who don't believe in God who are targeted. Well, I know there's people on my channel who say they're targeted and also probably don't believe in God. So in case there are people like that on my channel, I want to also kind of give you, like insights that may be able to help you and that don't have anything to do with like spirituality at all. So with that said, if you don't believe in the spiritual, you would have to accept the fact that you're dealing with people who are sociopaths and psychopaths, or have some sort of dark triad personality cluster type or some shit like that. So I'm going to kind of talk about that a little bit in this recording. So your situation exists for a reason, obviously, and I think that for the most part, if the gang stalkers are doing something, it's because they're getting something out of it, because that's how psychopaths think. Now, there are a couple things that I want to talk about. First is that psychopaths are usually the ones who get positions of power. The manager at your store is a high probability he's a psychopath. Psychopaths are good for business. Having a psychopath manager is good for business. When it comes to making money, psychopaths' complete lack of morals make them prime candidates for positions of power. If you're a business owner and you wanted to make sure that you maximize profits, who would you want at the helm of your business? A person who is gonna worry about taking advantage of people, or doing something bad? Or would you want someone who's completely ruthless, a person with no morality, no code, no decency? That's the type of person who's going to maximize profits. That's the type of person who's going to make sure that you make as much money as possible. A complete fucking werewolf. That son of a bitch will do anything in order to fucking succeed. He'll do anything. Like this guy will swindle an old woman, and that shit's gonna, maximize profits. So like, even at like places you go to eat, I think that the people, like the corporations that that hire these people, they intentionally look for narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths. Like they want these type of people to manage their businesses because these people are good for business. It's kind of like you put someone like that in a position of power, you demand results, and then you just sit back and just let him do whatever the fuck he wants in order to get the results. In the back of your mind, you know that he's a ruthless psychopath. You know he's going to do whatever it takes. And you know that the money is going to come in, like you're going to be successful and profitable, because the guy's completely ruthless. This guy will make deals with criminals, all sorts of shit. Like, he's going to do all this shit that's going to help you out financially. It's going to be shit that makes you money. Like, the guy's going to do whatever the fuck it takes. All you have to do is just give him like a quota or something, and he's going to meet the quota by any means necessary. So I think a lot of business owners, a lot of corporations realize that in order to maximize profits, you're going to want a psychopath. That's why these areas can be completely taken over by psychopaths. Like once they entrench themselves in the area, it's kind of like, they can just take control of shit. Like, because that's how their mind works. So, but the point is that they do what they do for a reason. So like, if our misery benefits them in any way, then they're going to want to make us miserable because there's a reward there. Psychopaths are very primitive beasts. They are basically, it's like risk, reward, and that kind of shit. Like a psychopath is the type of person, he'll do whatever it takes in order to get a reward. So like, this situation, if you didn't believe in the spiritual, you would have to assume that there's a reward for your misery. Like the fact that these nasty sadistic people are fucking with you, it's not random. There's a reward. There's some sort of reward. They're getting something out of it. Like either your response, they enjoy your response. Maybe they just thought it was funny. I don't know. I mean, they don't have morals. They don't have morals. It's like if you saw an old woman on the side of the street dying, you would just take her purse and loot her rather than call the ambulance and get her to a hospital. So I've dealt with psychopaths for a long time. I understand how their mind works. So like, if an old woman was dying on the side of the road, the psychopath would come along and he would take their money and just leave them. That's how their mind works, okay? Because reward is like opportunity, reward, opportunity, reward. And then consequences fall in there somewhere. Like if the old woman was dying, she couldn't squeal on him because she's dying. So the way the psychopath was view that situation would be to take all her money and take all her valuables and leave her for dead, because that's how their mind works. That's why I'm saying in this situation, you just have to figure out what it is these people are after, basically, and just not give it to them. That's the whole point. Like, we don't know what they're after, but you got to remember that right and wrong don't matter to these people. It's about getting what they want. So what I've done is figured out what they were after, and then I just denied them it, and that's how I beat them. I mean, basically, so my advice would be to do the same. But of course, there's spiritual elements to this, obviously. In my mind, there are. But I understand that not all of you are going to just, jump on the God bandwagon. So just in case, I have people on my channel who just doesn't want somebody pushing a belief system on them. They just want solutions to get out of this situation. Well, my advice to you would be to figure out what the gang stalkers are after. Once you figure out what they're after, then you can take control of the situation. But you got to figure out what they're after. I mean, well, we know that they're trying to piss us off. We just don't know why. That's why I was like, well, my first advice would be to get past whatever hiccups you have, whatever vulnerabilities that they're exploiting. But the secret to beating them is figuring out what they're after. Once you figure out what they're after, you can take control of the situation. Like, I don't let them manipulate my ass, even though they try every day. But you also need to study sociopaths and psychopaths and narcissism. Study the dark triad personality cluster group types, antisocial personality people. It's amazing how many people out here apparently are antisocial. Like, this is an antisocial, the entire fucking community seems to be antisocial. Either that or they're really dumb. I mean, antisocial people can puppeteer them. I can't come up with a third explanation for it outside of the spiritual. But the point is that it will be in your best interest to try to figure out what the people are after. That's why a lot of times I don't really respond to shit that they do. Like, even when in regards to making videos and shit, like, I don't want to make videos a whole lot. I mean, unless I just automatically, I was in a mood to make one. Because for all we know, my response is what they're after. So, and that's what they're trying to get. Like, I'm responding to them. And maybe they enjoy it. Maybe they like listening to my channel. Maybe, they figure, okay, if we do something evil, we get a reward for doing something evil. So you got to remember that when they do evil shit, there's a reward in there for them somewhere. And that's assuming you don't believe in the spiritual. So if you don't believe in the spiritual, you're going to have to assume that the reason why the community is so fucking evil is because there's a reward in there. Because like I said, that's how narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths, antisocial people think. Antisocial people don't have a conscience. They don't have a conscience. They don't have morality. They don't have a conscience. They don't have a soul. Well, they have a soul, but it's evil. I don't know. They're fucking demons or some shit. Like, if you don't have any kind of conscience, your mind is based. It's programmed pretty primitive. It's like a primitive mind, so like an animal. Like, I don't know how much compassion animals have. I mean, an animal sees a gazelle, a baby gazelle, he eats that shit because he's fucking hungry. He doesn't give a fuck that it's a baby. He doesn't give a fuck. Like, that's how these people are. They're like animals. That's why I said that their mind works like that. You know, they see opportunity the same way a predator sees opportunity or some shit. Fortunately, they're not very smart. I mean, they're just not. But even with the recordings, like, that's why I don't do recordings a lot. The only time I record shit is when I have something I really want to say that I think will be helpful. But, you know, when I'm dealing with these people, I am inspired sometimes to, you know, talk about the operation, because, like, an idea pops in my head or on a topic, and I figure it'd be a good idea to cover it. But the point is that if you don't believe in the spiritual, but I think there's a lot of evidence to suggest it's a spiritual, but if you don't believe in that, then you're stuck with antisocial. I think that, like, your community is completely antisocial or is run by antisocial people. And dealing with antisocial people is the worst experience you could ever have in your fucking life. Dealing with one antisocial person is like fighting with a demon or something. I'm not even joking. Like, imagine you live in a community full of antisocial people. That shit, you have no idea how difficult it is to handle even one person who's antisocial. I mean, you have no fucking idea. Antisocial people are the most difficult people on the planet to fucking deal with. You live in a community full of them. That's why this situation is almost impossible to deal with. One antisocial person can completely destroy your fucking life. Imagine if there was a whole community of them. So hopefully that makes sense. And like I said, if you guys have anything you want to say, just message me in the comment section and I'll respond. And with that said, let me go ahead and close.